All right, hello, and live from the jungles of Vietnam. This is the Pickleball Jones. I am Brad. I am joined, as always, by Doc. Doc, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Got to go with the tagline. Good morning, Vietnam. We go to no lengths or every length to bring you this podcast. Brad now broadcasting live from Vietnam. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing how the world can work. Speaking of Vietnam, I'm going to bring in Bao. Bao, come over here real quick. So I have a friend, Bao, who does not know how to play pickleball, but he is very good at ping pong. And I had him jump on a tennis court while some people were playing badminton near us to try out pickleball. So come on over. You're good. Don't worry.
Good morning.
How was pickleball? How was your pickleball experience?
It was good. It was good. Yeah.
Do you think your ping pong experience translated?
Oh yeah, it's kind of similar, but then now you have to run a lot, and I barely catch my breath. The first place. So.
It was also hot.
It's also hot outside, and I don't have a shoes.
What did the badminton people think of us?
Maybe they think of us like an alien or something because they don't know what the hell we're doing.
So the people playing badminton had no idea what the hell pickleball was. They'd never seen it before.
They just look at us weird.
So badminton is big in Vietnam?
Yes.
I played today.
You played badminton?
Right. It's all wrist. I tried to do a big swing, and they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad." And it's just all this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you think it's going to catch on there?
Oh, I think so. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, Brad's the ambassador for pickleball. Say what? Yeah.
If it does catch on, the Vietnamese will dominate because of their badminton and ping pong skill.
And height is not a requirement in pickleball, so they should do well.
Oh, and not a lot of running too, so that's a plus.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Before we go out though, so Bao, explain what the Vietnamese basketball, what the team looks like.
So the team, they are 5 people, right? They include 2 Vietnamese, 2 non-Vietnamese, and 1 Vietnamese but born outside of the country.
So in order to play in the Vietnamese basketball league, at all times on the court, there has to be at least 3 Vietnamese people and 2 non-Vietnamese people, because otherwise, obviously, all the the people who weren't good enough to make it to the NBA will just take over the league. But they want to keep it Vietnamese, so they have to redefine it and say at least 3 Vietnamese people on the court at all times.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. What's going on? First, we have gender equity. Now we got Vietnamese equity. Man.
To be fair, it's not fair for me to play against him. You know what I mean? Like, pick somebody at your own size, bro.
Well, I'm sure there's some other sport that you can beat Brad at. So maybe just not pickleball.
Yeah.
Or basketball.
Not basketball for sure.
Yeah.
I can beat him at soccer, maybe.
There you go. There you go.
Maybe 10 years ago, though, because I barely run now. So.
You got that dad bod.
Yep.
It sounds like we have some conditioning issues over there, Brad.
Yes.
You better get this young man jogging.
Yeah, we're gonna work on it.
All right.
All right, Bao. Thanks, man.
All right, bro.
All right.
It was fun.
Nice. All right, Doc. So let's get into it. So this weekend was the Takeya showcase in California somewhere. Let's just jump into singles. So within singles, Ben and Annalise Waters went down fairly early. And so I'm going to kick it to you. Who had the worst beat? Was it Ben Johns or Annalise Waters?
Oh, it's got to be Annalise Waters. I mean, you saw this little temper tantrum she threw, right? Okay, oh, yeah. She's only 16, blah, blah, blah. She's not used to losing. No, come on. No, it's Annalise, hands down. Biggest beat was Annalise.
Fair enough. I didn't get to watch the Ben Johns one, but I definitely watched the ALW match. And from what I saw, she just looked like us out there. She was hitting the ball in places where it wasn't even near the court, much less, within the guidelines of it. So really, she just beat herself, but it looked ugly.
Yeah, she looked like me. When I'm losing, the other team gets to 8 or 9, and I think I'm going to lose, and then I just smack the shit out of the ball. That's what she was doing. I can't think of anything else. She was missing by 3-4 feet. It was ridiculous. And then went over, threw her paddle at her mom. That was a class act. And then goes storming off the court. So, but to her credit, she did come back. But I think she's got to learn how to lose maybe a little more graciously. That would just be she might start with
I think
that.
for her, it's something where she doesn't lose very often, right? So she hasn't lost in many, many days. And so you kind of have to give it to her. And she's 16, but eventually I do think she'll be a little more gracious with her losses. But speaking of gracious losses, Annalie Waters wasn't the only one to have a meltdown on the singles day. Her boyfriend, the Tweener King, Alston, why can't I say names right now? Sorry. Thank you. He also had a meltdown against Tyson McMuffin. So tell me about that.
Oh, I saw this live. Hysterical. He had Tyson McMuffin. He won the first game, Alshon, and then had him 9-6 maybe 10-6. And then, as your dad said, the butthole puckered, and he lost it and started going downhill, and then he eventually lost that game. And I don't know if it was that game or the next game. Within 30 seconds, he broke 2 paddles. So he missed a shot, took his paddle, whacked it across his ankle, snapped the paddle in half. Then he called timeout, got his backup paddle, took it out of his bag, smashed that on the ground, and there were 2 paddles in 30 seconds he smashed. It was classic. So it was a great drama to watch. Not so good for Alshon. And then afterwards, I don't have the exact what was said, but they touched paddles, and it was one of those, just get the hell out of my way to Tyson McMuffin, who came back, stormed back and won. And then Tyson went over there and said, hey, it looked like he was trying to, hey, you need to act a little more appropriately. At least that's what my interpretation was when he went over there and was trying to say, hey, he wasn't lecturing him, but hey, come on, get it together. I thought he was more in a supportive way. And then Tyson in his post-game interview was very gracious. But it was hysterical to watch him melt down. I can't imagine. Can you imagine being up 10-6, 4 match points, and then losing in the third game? So I would have snapped a few paddles, but he made Jack look tame compared to breaking paddles. It was good.
Yeah. For those who don't know, our friend Jack is notorious for breaking paddles. He's broken at least 8 or 9 of them over the course of his 1 year as a pickleball player. And I would have to agree that I thought the internet had a field day with Annalie and kind of how she reacted post her loss to the Hurricane. But when it really comes down to it, she doesn't lose very often, and she is a 16-year-old. So I kind of understand where, give her some leeway on how she acted. But the Tweener King, I don't know. I watched those clips and I was like, man, this guy overreacted like crazy. And then even afterwards, where he did have a little bit of time, a few seconds to cool down, Tyson tried to do the right thing and say, like, hey, I read it the exact same way you did. Like, hey, man, like, we got to be a little more professional here.
Yes.
And Christian was not having it. And I have to give the worst meltdown to the Tweener King.
No, I'm going the opposite. I'm going, Annalie throwing a little baby temper tantrum because she didn't get her way and she didn't win for the 400th time in a row, throw her paddle at her mother, stormed off the court. No. And the Tweener King, hey, that was a tough beatdown. I'd break a few paddles too. So I'm going the opposite. Annalie's the winner of the meltdown.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I mean, we can both agree that the winner of that exchange was Tyson McMuffin, who who did great. Like, we thought not only on his post-game interview, but even just how he handled it in the moment was really great. And so I got to give a shout out and a winner to him.
Absolutely. And that we talked about this, how since we started doing these podcasts, we had these preconceived ideas about these players. And now that we watch more and we watch the post interviews and we read a little bio, you can move up and down our list, very rapidly. So Tyson, who was not one of my favorites, I thought he looked like a chump out there with his wife beater shirt on. And but then once I read his bio, and it seems like a super guy, and then his comments, he could have really gone negative on Alshon, and he said, "Hey, nothing but props to the guy. He's going to be very good. He's a young superstar." I thought nothing but the high road for Tyson. So Tyson moved up the list, was a winner for sure.
Yeah, very good. Well, I guess to keep on the beats of winners, we have to give one to Gabriel Joseph, who ended up winning the singles all out. He won singles gold, of course, benefiting from Ben John's losing earlier in the week or whatever. But he had to go through a number of studs. So he started off with Pablo, went through my guy Connor Garnett, Yates Johnson, who is an APP king, constantly like winning over there. Then he went through Tyson McMuffin, and then Federico in the finals. So he had a rough road to hoe, but he made it through. And overall, you got to give him some props for winning gold there. What did you think?
I hate to rain on your parade again, but yeah. I got to tell you, I know you like singles because you're good at it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about singles. Nobody watches. Nobody watched the finals. Hey, good enough for Gabriel Joseph. Hey, more power to you. But nobody cares about singles, Brad. I'm sorry to tell you. So although other than entertainment value for meltdowns with Alshon and Anna Lee in the singles, nobody actually cared about the matches. We were just looking for the meltdowns.
That's fair. I have to say, you did mention that Gabriel that had some good style points. Would you say they're good or no?
No. I would say someone needs to get him. Tell him we're in the 21st century. The dude's wearing 2 diamond earrings. He's got this haircut that looks a little bizarre. Do your own thing. But he looks like he got stuck back with the Backstreet Boys or whatever those bands were back then. I don't even know who they were. But he looks like he's in a little time warp and needs to accelerate about 30 years.
Fair enough. Well, we can't not talk about before we leave singles, since I didn't know that you thought it was like so shitty. For now on, maybe we'll just put this at the end.
Hey, you go for it. You like it. You think there's 3 or 4 other people that like singles.
We're putting this at the end for now. Fuck it, I'm out.
My gut feeling is nobody cares about singles.
Well, you have to talk about Hurricane Tyra because you brought her up. You're a biggest fan, and how could you forget about the biggest winner of the weekend, who is Hurricane? She not only got her first bronze in women's doubles, but she pulled out gold in women's singles after beating Anna Lee Waters. So go ahead. Here's your moment to gloat.
Yeah, I can't say we were on this ship from the beginning, but we certainly got on before she hit rock star status. We jumped on her bandwagon, and so and then she just did everything possible. Her post-game interview against Anna Lee was nothing but gracious, and in fact, it would be a psychologist's nightmare. She said, "Oh, she's better than me. I thought I was going to lose. I was up 9-2 in the third game and still thought I was going to lose." So it was, all this self-deprecation, which I think just makes her even more appealing. So, yeah, big time props for Tyra. And she's, bronze and a gold, again, she's a superstar.
Awesome. Well, moving away from singles, since that's crap anyway, we're going to move to mixed doubles. And honestly, mixed doubles wasn't anything too exciting. Ben Johns and Anna Lee Waters dominate as per usual. But I would say 2 things that stuck out to me were at some point Colin Johns fell on the ground in his match against Erik Lange, and Erik Lange just popped him right in the chest, almost in the face, honestly. And I thought that was hilarious. It's just funny just to see Colin Johns continue to be that like kind of laughing or like, point of laughter when it comes to mixed doubles, and then him falling over and getting bodied was just hilarious to me. But I'll throw it to you if you saw that clip.
I did see that clip, and he caught the ball. It was like the guy's down and you just stomp on him, and it was hysterical. But it was pretty athletic to catch the ball. But he looks. We'll get into winners and losers, but he looks like a sorry soul out there. I'll tell you, limping around, dragging that leg around. He couldn't even move. And so you really, I felt for him. It was, I'm sure it's a legitimate injury, and we have to watch it. We're treading on thin ice with these injuries. People commenting on our podcast that maybe we don't know what we're talking about from a medical viewpoint. But he certainly looked like he was hurting and had some sort of Achilles injury. I'm not a physical therapist or orthopedic surgeon, but once again, I don't know why you're wearing a tibial band. Maybe that's the way it works for your Achilles. So he had that tibial brace up, just below his knee. That's the one that
Jack wears. I know it's for his knee. I don't know what, if he has an Achilles injury, how that's really helping. But I remember even during the doubles match with his brother, he ended up taking that off. And again, we might be friends of orthopedic surgeons, but we are not orthopedic surgeons. But like in my mind, I was just like, well, what the hell is he wearing this for? Like, that's not going to help your Achilles.
That's what I thought. But, again, we're not medical experts in the field of orthopedics. So
we'll bring one on. We know someone.
We've got every medical specialty covered. We're gonna get the experts involved.
Well, in other news, I did see, and I sent you the clip of AJ Koller covering for Jessie Irvine. This man covered the entire length of the court to hit a third shot into the net, which I thought was hilarious. And so I just want to give you the time to tell AJ Koller that he is not Ben Johns. So I'll kick it over to you.
Get your ass out of there. Yeah, you're not Ben Johns. You're not knocking Jessie Irvine off the court for you to then hit it into the net. And she gave him a little diss, acting. Did you see her after the ball went? She went like, it was right to. Yeah, it was right to me. Yeah, it was right to me. And it was on
her right side. The ball went all the way to her right side. She's standing way over, and he still ran his ass over there to get it.
Understand. Come on. Stay in your lane, I would tell AJ. He didn't have a super weekend either. At least he looked certainly looked we'll get into it, like the weak link with the men's doubles. He looked really weak.
Yeah, well, we'll get into it. I will before we get off mixed, the only other thing I had was to talk to you about your prediction with the Newmans. Riley and Lindsay did not look so great this weekend. Got dominated by Ben Johnson and Lee Waters. But I'll kick it to you for that, or for any other comments you have on mixed doubles.
Oh, okay. Thanks for bringing that up. I did admit. Well, I didn't say immediately, and so maybe I was still riding that thing where I thought they should have won over in Seattle. They should have won that match. It wasn't even 11-4, 11-4, I think, or something. They got beat. And so maybe it's going to take a little time. We'll see. Maybe I may have to jump off that one, jump on the sword. I don't know. Newman's a mess right now. It doesn't matter. Mixed doubles, men's doubles. He's in a heap of hurt.
Yeah, well, we'll jump into doubles now. I don't know. Do you have any other final comments on mixed doubles at all?
Sunday in general is, I'd say go to the beach, have a cocktail, because everything was straight sets. There wasn't any compelling game. With the Johns, Ben and Colin won one game, and they actually, AJ and Dylan Frazier gave them that second game. They should have won. So otherwise, every gold medal match was just a blitz. So we haven't had too much drama on Sunday so far.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, moving then on to doubles. So we got men's and women's doubles. I wanted to start off with Allyce Jones. Why can't I figure out names today? Anyway,
Yeah.
Miss Jones
Miss
doing
Jones.
Jones things, where she literally, the Mighty Mouse did what she always does, where she's just a volleyball player playing a pickleball game, and she ran off the court. Literally, you see a picture where her feet are just up like this, and that's all you see. And then she came back onto the court and ended up winning the point. She continues to astound, and at the very least, is very entertaining when it comes to pickleball matches.
Yeah, it was a good clip, sitting there with her legs up in the air. So, but she's a little fireball, so good for her.
Yeah. And she was running with the Hurricane Tyra Banks, or Tyra, oh my goodness, Tyra Black today. And so they ended up getting the bronze medal. And once again, that was Hurricane Tyra's very first medal at all. So congrats to her once again.
Yep.
Nice.
Good for Hurricane.
There you go. ALW and Bright steamroll as per usual. Like you said, Sunday wasn't very exciting. But then we do want to talk a little bit about Ben Johns. So Ben Johns was partnered with his brother Colin Johns. As we mentioned earlier, Colin had a Achilles injury, but of course, with his Achilles injury, he was using a knee brace to help it.
Wait. Alleged Achilles injury. Alleged.
But you could see that the man was hobbled. Like, he was walking around, and it wasn't like a thing where I was at all questioning it. The man looked injured.
No, you knew he was injured because it didn't come and go. He was dragging his leg. He couldn't even get over to the bench when he had to drag his leg over the advertising steps over there by his bench. Yeah, he was in a heap of hurt, and his brother, per usual, did his best to bail him out. But what are you gonna do playing with one leg?
Yeah, I would have to say, like, I honestly was impressed by Colin, because he was able to, knowing that it was an Achilles injury, like, you have to get low for a lot of these shots and stuff, and his ability to reset and things was on full display, even with the injury. And again, he really looked injured. So I got to give him some props for continuing.
This is bullshit. You're stealing all my winners and losers. I got Colin Johns right here on my winners list. I'm serious.
Go ahead. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right. He played through, like you said, real injury. You could tell. You could tell he was hurting and couldn't move, but sucked it up and played through it. So certainly he made my winners list just with effort.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And so, as we said, Ben Johns carried his brother against the biggest one. I thought was Connor and Matt Wright, and that match was really good. But once again, Ben Johns and Colin Johns found a way to just kind of beat up on him. And Ben, of course, was able to cover most of the court, but Colin held his own as well. And so they made their way into the finals, where they faced JW and Dylan Frazier. And JW and Dylan Frazier knew what they were getting into. They knew Colin Johns was hurt, and so they strategized for it. They ended up winning in 4 games, but even in that one game that Ben Johns took, it didn't look like, or Ben Johns and Colin Johns took, it didn't look like it was going to be all that close. The game was 12-10, and honestly, I was impressed that Ben Johns and Colin Johns were able to pull that one out. But yeah, I don't know. What were your thoughts overall on that one?
Yeah, I think, there was no doubt. The score wasn't as close. The match wasn't as close as even the score showed. I thought it was pretty much a domination. Again, with Colin being hurt. Those guys are on fire right now. Dylan and Colin, they do stumble when they get to about 8 or 9. I've watched enough matches, and I guess a lot of people do. It's tough to get that game-winning point. But they get to 8 or 9, and then somehow the wheels start to get a little wobbly, and then they get it back together. But I think they're exciting to watch. You got to get ready for 500 dinks in a row, and then once they go at it with those firefights, those are pretty amazing.
Yeah, and nothing is better than JW, and we've talked about it before on other podcasts, but nothing's better than just watching that dude with his arms all the way down, paddle like he's not even ready, and just automatically he's able to get the paddle into place and hit speed ups that you just cannot believe are coming off his paddle.
It's the whole thing. It's the paddle down. It's that blank stare on his face, like he's not even paying attention. It's the
Yeah.
whole
He's dressed
persona.
poorly. Like it just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole thing. He looks like he just got done, from like Walmart, just like grabbed whatever clothes he could, and that was it.
It looks like he's never worn a hat before. Did you see him with the hat now?
It's very
Jesus
weird.
Christ. Okay. Yeah, he's like, you could tell he's not a hat wearer. And
Yeah.
I've never seen him till this weekend. He had a hat on, but you could tell he was not comfortable with it. Whereas, you and I wear hats. Well, we're wearing them right now. We wear them all the time. He did not feel comfortable. So he looks a mess. And then with that blank stare on his face, but he is so freaking amazing with those hands, just
Yep.
really good. And then he's got the benefit with Dylan Frazier, who's got some offense as opposed to Colin Johns. Dylan's got some offense.
Absolutely.
That he can win some points and do other than just reset and things like that. So that certainly helps.
Yeah, but that's 3 weeks in a row where JW and Dylan Frazier have won gold. Of course, the first one only being in the Beer City Open. That's only, but you know what I mean? There was still some good competition there. And then these past 2 PPAs at Seattle and then the Takeya Open, they took it. So, they're doing well for you. And then, go ahead.
Well, I say I called that out 2 weeks ago. That's my new favorite team. I like their subdued nature, not too obnoxious, and other than their coach, who who leaves a little bit to be desired. I'm all on board for that team. Sans coach.
Yes, absolutely. Minus that coach, Mircea Morariu. If you want, Google some things about him and you will find it. But the dude is a piece of shit. It's like we like to call it. I mean, we'll just call it as it is. And that's it. That's all I don't get.
Yeah, just do a Google search and you'll see what is going on.
Yeah, there you go. Or go on the tweets of our guy Maurice the Grease, and he'll tell you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, very simple. Very simple.
He's not going to sugarcoat it. No.
Well, we got to talk about the biggest loser of the weekend and somebody we have not talked about yet. But JW and Dylan Frazier continue to win. But we got to mention a partnership that is no longer around, and a certain person who ended that partnership, Riley Newman. So let's talk about Riley Newman. First and foremost, he has played himself once again, a second weekend in a row. He not only had a new partner this week, so he had AJ Koller, which I thought was weird to begin with because he brought on Julian Arnold last week. I thought you would want to get some consistency and slowly build that up over time, but he went with AJ this week, and he ended up losing to Julian Arnold and Wilson in the quarterfinals, I want to say. And so I'm just going to stop there and let you feast on poor Riley Newman here, who has played himself so much.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you're in a hole, you stop digging. But this guy is getting everything coming that he deserves. Again, we don't know him. Maybe once we get to know him, he'll be the nicest guy and he'll move up our list. But for right now, he's on the loser list for sure. Not meddling, not even getting to the semis. And they've looked lost with Julian Arnold and then with AJ. That seems weird. A different type of player. Why would you go with two different types of players? And he needs to get his shit together. I don't know. I'm available. Maybe he's gonna give me a call. I'm only a 3.0, but he can. If I have 2 legs, that's more than Colin Johns has.
You're a 3.5, my guy. Don't sell yourself short.
I was trying to be modest. But O'Reilly, he's in a world of hurt right now, but it's a long season. Let's see how it plays out. But for right now, he's behind the 8 ball.
There you go. Well, I would just say this is now 2 tournaments in a row where Ben Johns and Colin Johns were not a full squad. So first off, they lost pretty early on in Seattle.
Yes.
And then Colin Johns was hobbled all week this week. And so this is just 2 opportunities where that Arnold Wright partnership would have been in the finals, and they would have had a really good chance against teams like JW and Dylan or whoever. And this could have been their time to shine to get gold. And that's now 2 weeks in a row where Riley Newman, who, was bitching about getting silver, what was like 20 some odd times in a row, didn't get gold because he never made it to the championship Sunday.
Right. The irony is they probably would have been favored in both of these last two tournaments if he had Matt Wright. They would have been favored. And so, grass is
everything, and the man just played himself. It's crazy.
Grass is not always greener on the other side, I guess. Too bad for Riley.
There you go. Too bad. But he is our biggest loser, and, good riddance, I guess. Yeah. Well, that's it for my winners and losers and everything to talk about for the Takeya showcase. I'm going to kick it to you. What else am I missing?
You missed a loser. Well, Alshon with, again, throwing his little temper tantrum. But you missed, I bet, in the quarterfinals, JW hit a tweener for a winner at the Tweener King.
I did not see this.
Yeah, JW hit one between the legs at Alshon, and he screwed it up. And I thought, what could be better? A tweener at the Tweener King for a winner.
So, I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna track that clip down and watch it because that does sound like a good one. I didn't see that anywhere.
Yeah, and then let's see who else I have on this. We got Colin. Then I've got to put Mr. Merchant has got to stay on our loser list. We got to bring him up again. His name came up. We didn't even do it. So they ask, who don't you want to play on your side of the bracket? And our buddy Dylan Frazier says he doesn't want to play Merchant. And I'm going, what the hell? You got all these guys and you're worried about this guy on the side of your bracket. And then he did all the insults possible. Your man, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant, he called Mr. Merchant the Brown Mamba.
Yeah, that's what they call him, man.
No, come on. You're trying to use that icon for this little sawed-off guy
it's
when
ridiculous.
You got Kobe Bryant. Oh,
you should be.
He was your favorite player. I know that, Brad. And so I thought you should be incensed that they would call him the Brown Mamba. I would spit on him if they said that.
I mean, the dude Althoff is a person who is just. It's amazing how easy it is to dislike this man. Every single week we find a new reason. And it was his birthday last week, so happy birthday. Shout out to our guy, Mr. Merchant. But honestly, that guy fucking sucks. And
the other, I'm reading into this. Dylan Frazier said he didn't want him in his bracket because of, he's he didn't say the words, but he just said brown. But you know what the reason was? He didn't want to play this jackass. But he couldn't say it. So, oh my God. So Mr. Burchett stays on the list.
There you go. Well, that's all of our winners and losers for this week. So I got a few questions before we wrap this up. But the first one is, we talked about Sunday and how it was kind of a snooze fest for the most part. Everything went up the chalk. But the other thing was a lot of the top pros weren't playing in things. So Allyce Waters and Ben Johns weren't in the finals. We didn't have Colin and Ben in the men's finals. So do you find yourself caring as much when there aren't the top pros in the championship Sunday?
Colin and Ben were in this week's finals.
Oh,
but not Seattle.
Correct. That's what I meant, is Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. It's like golf. If there's a bunch of no names, at least for me, a bunch of no names on top of the leaderboard, click off. I don't know what it is. If you didn't have Tiger, Rory, McIlroy, and Mickelson, if you didn't have all the big names gunning at each other, and you had some no name who, maybe a superstar, but it just, click. Same thing in pickleball. If I don't know these guys, sorry, click. Yeah, I think that's probably a common thread with most people. Even if you're a pickleball lover, that if it doesn't have the big build, I mean, everybody used to, the Johns brothers against Matt Wright and Riley Newman. That was it. That's what you wanted to see. So, but it's good to get some new faces, and maybe they'll become our favorites. But for right now, who's this? Gabriel Joseph? Can't do it. No, won't do it. No, click.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, that brings me to my other question, which was you shat on singles earlier. So, what is your favorite event to watch?
I'm going men's doubles.
Okay.
And I can kind of give you a little logic. First of all, you can't get anybody close to Anna Lee and Bright. I don't know if they lost a game since they got together.
It's been a minute. Yeah, I don't know if they've even lost yet. To your point, if they've lost games, much less a match.
That's what I mean. No, I don't believe they've lost a match. I'm certain of that, but I don't think they've even lost a game. So it's kind of you're not looking at too much drama usually. That's you can have the Kim Kardashian wannabe out there. That's my new name for Anna Lee. So we think she's going to join the Kardashians. But anyway, so that's why I don't like women's doubles. It's so dominating at the top. Mixed doubles, like I said, I thought the Newmans were right there, but again, that's pretty dominating with Johns and Anna Lee. And so I go men's doubles because of our new favorite boys, Dylan and JW. They just look like they're out there having a, just that blank look on your face, and then you smack it 100 miles an hour. I wish I could do it.
Yeah, well, I guess this, much like all things, including who we like and dislike, there's a rotating list of characters, and you can be at the bottom and work your way up, like Leah Jansen, who you didn't like at all for the longest time, and now you have a T-shirt with her face on it. So you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's same thing with this. Maybe now it's men's doubles, but in the future, who knows? Maybe you'll come around on singles.
That's right. Yeah, I might. Yeah, this is a very fluid list. And Anna Lee, Jensen, she got me not liking Tyson because she was saying some not so complimentary things on that podcast. King of the Court. We'll give them that's who we're trying to emulate here. But she was saying some not so flattering things about Tyson. And so then I was already leaning negative, and I heard that and I go, I'm way negative. And then again, I heard him talk. I read a little bit about him. I go, seems like a solid guy. Seems like a real nice guy. So yeah, you can move up and down. Plus, we haven't mentioned we're willing to be bribed. You could, anything. Send us a hat, a T-shirt, anything. We'll put you on the winners list.
Rafa Hewitt just watched one of my games, and he catapulted from being at the bottom of my list to the top of my list. You know what I mean? I love that guy now. Me and Rafa are like this. Yeah.
Man, he brings out well, that's how Anna Lee got at the top of my list at that there at Desert Ridge. She gave me shoelaces. Yeah, boom. She was already up there and gave me shoelaces. But now with her little temper tantrum, boom, she's gone. She's gone. She's in there with the Kardashians, and she doesn't have time for us.
Fair enough. Well, I got two more for you. So the last the last main question is: are pickleball players real athletes? And this was something that was discussed on the King of the Court podcast and also on Twitter, and people have been commenting and things like that. But I want to kick it back to you. So overall, pickleball players, are they real athletes? Talk to us.
Yeah, I think definitely they are. But that same thing came to mind even before this. I was at a AAA baseball game or something, and I looked at these guys, and they look very athletic, and there's some out of shape baseball players, but for the most part, I was looking at, I go, man, I wonder how these guys would do in pickleball. And then we had the experience of you playing with the baseball player from Princeton who had been playing 2 weeks and was already, better than either of us. And so I think I think pickleball players but there's always, just like golf, there's going to be a million people. It's going to be that pyramid. million people that are good, and there's going to be the cream of the crop, whether it's mental, hand-eye coordinate, whatever it is, there's going to be that small top 10 people or 5 people or whatever it is that sets them apart. But then there'll be a million athletes below them. So no, definitely they're athletic people. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say, like, the barrier to entry to pickleball is one of the lowest for all sports.
Absolutely.
And I think that gives a common misconception that it's not an athletic sport. And I also think, again, like I am not an orthopedic surgeon, but I also think that's why so many people get hurt playing pickleball, is because it has a low barrier to entry. People don't normally get to go out and actually exercise, and they go out and they exercise for the first time playing pickleball and they get hurt, which, you know, is a good thing and a bad thing. It's bad that they get hurt, but it's good that they're getting out and trying things. But that being said, I do think, to your point, to be at the top tier of any professional sport, including pickleball, you have to be a pretty amazing athlete. And we're even seeing it in singles versus doubles. We're seeing a lot of tennis players come over and being able to play good singles pickleball, but they can't manage to do it on the doubles end. And it's just because that's just even another level to get to be able to play and transition your tennis background into a doubles format with pickleball. And I think it shows that those people who are good at singles, or even people who are just good at doubles, really have some type of athletic thing that just sets them apart.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's because of that barrier. You're exactly right. You go to the recreational pickleball court and you'll see some unathletic people playing pickleball. And so you try to say, oh, look, anybody, these pros, anybody can play pickleball, because there's some very unathletic people.
Or just like older folk, right? Like you get there and you'll see, like, you know what I mean? And like I go to a 55 and older community, I get dominated by a guy who's like 82 years old.
And that's what I was going to say. And they could be damn good. They can be unathletic, out of shape, big, and they can be good. But that doesn't mean the pro pickleball player isn't a super athlete. Right. I think they are. I think they look athletic. They play athletic. No. So, yeah, they're athletes for sure.
We mentioned it before, so we actually got our very first comment on the YouTube channel, and it came from an ER doc who said any flying object at 40 miles per hour to the head can certainly cause a concussion. And I just wanted to respond to this and give you the platform to respond to this. You may or may not know this individual, but I'll kick it over to you to start.
Well, I think I know this individual, so I would not trust his medical opinion. Just go with that. He's not a neurologist. Just because he worked in a level 3 trauma unit for 30 years doesn't make him an expert on wiffle balls to the head. So that's what I would say. I would say common sense. And I would say common sense in medicine is 50% of the practice. And so just because he says it so doesn't mean it is so. So we're going to need some more scientific. Speaking of which, that's a good thing to bring. Maybe when I'm watching more pickleball because of the podcast, a lot of body shots. Man, a lot of I don't know if this is a new thing or what the hell's going on, but man, a lot of people getting tattooed. But I haven't seen anybody stand bent over for 15 minutes and not get off the court. So, which brings me to the point. Ben Johns got smacked right in the head, right in the noggin. I can't remember who it was. Some guy. I mean, it was a smash right in his head. He just straightened his hat out, went back, didn't delay the game. Yeah,
it was Matt Wright. It didn't it didn't even there wasn't even a replay. You know what I mean? They just went and like he just smiled and then kept it going, kept it moving.
Yeah. And so I'm going back. You know, we hate to beat a dead horse, but I don't know about this. Regardless of what this ER doc says, I'm still skeptical about concussion. I'm thinking maybe somebody didn't want to continue in the game. That's what I'm going with.
All right. Well,
what we could solve it. We could bring her on as a guest.
We'll ask Jessie Irvine.
See if she won't come on.
And we want to bring up we only want to talk about your concussion. Like, we don't want to talk about any of your accolades or anything like that. We just want to talk about were you faking a concussion or not?
Yeah, were you faking? How bad did it hurt? Did you know what day it was? Did it leave a mark? You
Yeah.
know,
I want to see the scar. Is there an imprint still? Like, do you have pictures
Yeah.
of the imprint? I want to know how many holes there were on your forehead.
Yeah, well, that's part of concussion 101 is there an imprint on your forehead? And if there's not, then it's 50-50 whether you have a concussion.
Fair enough. All right. Well, with that, if you've made it this far, I do want to say, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or share our podcast, which is now on all podcasting platforms. I figured out how to do that. And so you can literally get it right to your podcast platform. So don't forget to share that with friends. And if you do have it on podcast, like, please leave a 5-star review. Don't leave a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, or even 4-star. Leave a 5-star review because that will help bump us up in the ratings. And so please don't forget to do that. And with that, this is the Pickleball Jones. I'm Brad. This is Doc. Thanks for listening to another episode.
Good
Peace.
morning, Vietnam.
See you, Doc.
Yep.
Hey, man, that was your best episode ever, bro.